When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Aloe or Allbirds, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does online business better than Shopify. It's home of Shop Pay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. That's shopify.com/income.
Welcome to Thoughts from a Page, a member of the Evergreen Podcasts Network. I'm Cindy Burnett, and I am so glad you're here. I personally select and read every book featured on the show so I can bring you thoughtful, spoiler-free author interviews. Whether you're deciding what to read next or looking for deeper insight after finishing a book, you're in the right place. I hope these conversations will enrich your reading life. In addition to the podcast, I write a monthly column, Buzz Reads, featuring my top 5 picks for each month, which is linked in the show notes. Do you love to be in the know about upcoming books? Well, Kelly Hooker of At Kelly Hook reads books, and I do too. And our 5th literary lookbook is a comprehensive list of over 600 titles releasing from January to May of 2026, curated for our communities. The other thing that we have done with this literary lookbook is we have color-coded by genre. So if you're looking for a particular genre, it will be really easy to scan the literary lookbook and find those titles that appeal to you. The link to buy it is in the show notes. If you enjoy the show, rating and reviewing it on Apple or Spotify really helps new listeners find me. If you're looking to contribute to the show financially, you can support me on Patreon or with a one-time contribution on PayPal, Venmo, or Buy Me a Coffee. It takes a long time to grow a show, and I continue to find a larger audience thanks to you, my loyal listeners. I am so grateful. Today, my dear friend Jayda Justus of the History Mom blog joins me to chat about her recommendations for gift giving at the holidays. Jayda is the creator and writer of the blog The History Mom, where she provides detailed reviews of U.S. and European historical sites for families, and she adds corresponding book recommendations as well. Her favorite genres to read are historical fiction and nonfiction, but she also loves contemporary and historical romance and women's fiction. Hailing from the historic town of Kings Mountain, North Carolina, she is a former legislative director for a member of Congress and now lives here in Richmond, Virginia with her family. I hope you enjoy our conversation.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Chronic spontaneous urticaria, or chronic hives with no known cause. It's so unpredictable. It's like playing pinball. Itchy, red bumps start on my arm, then my back. Sometimes my legs. Hives come out of nowhere. And it comes and goes. But I just found out about a treatment option at treatmyhives.com. Take that, chronic hives. Learn more at treatmyhives.com.
Welcome, Jayda. How are you today?
I'm doing well, Cindy. How are you?
I'm doing great, and I'm really excited for us to talk because last year you came on my show at this time of year and provided so many gift-giving recommendations, and I had the very best feedback on that episode, and I'm excited that we get to do it again.
That's great. Thank you so much. I just love giving gifts, and it's one of my love languages, I think. So I just love researching those.
And you're very good at it. And I'm sure I shouted this out last year, but when I first moved here, you were my main lifeline and connected me up with everybody we needed. Doctors, realtors, hair places, just everything. And you gave me so many great gifts for the Richmond and Midlothian area and showed me where to go when I needed gifts. And it was just so appreciated.
Oh, I'm so glad. Yes, I love finding something personalized and special to each individual gift recipient. So I'm glad you liked those.
Absolutely. Well, how is everything going in your world? I know in September you planned a reading retreat in DC that I went on, which was just wonderful. Just so much fun. Went so many places I hadn't been in DC before. And I just wanted to give you a shout out for that as well. And it was hectic, wasn't it?
It was. It was a great, wonderful experience, but it was from 8 a.m. until 11 p.m. most nights. But we had so many amazing opportunities to see things behind the scenes at the museums and to get private tours and see things that we had only read about, like at Hillwood, where we had read about Marjorie Post, to actually see her jewels. That was just so neat. We saw so many special things.
We really did. And you all managed to find so many wonderful guides. Everybody that we met, the docents at the various places, were so well informed, so knowledgeable. It all just came alive. It was great.
That's great. Yes. It was such a fun weekend. Like, it was exhausting, but the time of our lives. So
exactly. And of course, if you're going to be there, you want it to be exhausting because you want to take advantage of everything. So I didn't think it was overly exhausting. I just thought it was a ton of fun and we packed so much in.
Yes. Well, good. I'm so glad you went. It was really fun.
It really was. So what's been going on in your world lately?
Yes, I've been focused on my blog. I write at The History Mom, as you know, and I provide historical site tours, information to families and anyone who's interested in seeing historical sites in the U.S. or in Europe, and also now Japan. And I've also started a project, as you know, in January 2023 about First Ladies. So this year has been really interesting, getting to know some more of the more modern First Ladies. And so last month I focused on Jackie Kennedy. So that was really fun. Talk about overwhelming information, but trying to distill something new that I could learn about Jackie and talk about in my blog, and where you can walk in the shoes of these First Ladies. So I just truly love this project. It's going to be coming to an end early next year or mid next year. So I'm going to be very sad when I'm not spending as much time with our First Ladies.
So we haven't talked about this, and I was just thinking about it. What are you going to do when you get to the current First Ladies? I would think there wouldn't be nearly as much information about those women that have recently been First Ladies.
Yes, I agree. It's going to be very difficult to find enough information for the modern First Ladies, as their story isn't over yet. Their story is still being written. So I made a decision to end the project with Barbara Bush, George H.W. Bush's wife. And so that'll be sometime in mid next year, when I'm going to be very sad, though, to end the project.
I think that makes perfect sense that you're doing that. And like I said, I hadn't even thought about it before, but their stories aren't fully written. It makes perfect sense. I love that. And you will be sad. I'll be sad. It's been so much fun to follow along.
I'm sure I'll find some other project to feature these amazing women, because I've just fallen in love with each and every one of them. So it's just been such a joy.
It really has. And I feel like I've learned so much from everything you've done.
Good. Yes, I think a lot of these women, that people don't even know their names or what they're about. And so it's been really great to uncover some of the hidden gems from history.
Absolutely. And then you and I are hosting a little book exchange, which will be really fun. That's coming up in December.
Yes, I'm really excited about our little book swap.
I am too. I love the holidays, and any way to celebrate makes me happy.
Me too, especially if there's bookish fun along with it. So
exactly. And you have been such a huge help with my literary salon, which I just relaunched here in the Richmond Midlothian area this fall. And I so appreciate that. It's been wonderful to meet all these new readers, and I've had a great response. And I just appreciate your help of me getting the word out there.
Oh, well, I'm so glad. It's been such an amazing experience for me as a reader. And I just love hearing from authors and meeting them. And it's just so nice and intimate, and you can talk to the author beforehand. I just love how it's just such a lovely experience. It's not a formal, they're sitting behind a table signing a book event like you usually go to at a bookstore. I just love how personal it is.
And I have really enjoyed hearing people's feedback, some of the things they learn that I kind of forget because I do this day in and day out. And so it's not new to me anymore. And so it's really fun to hear readers come back and say, oh, I never knew such and such, or I love learning this behind the scenes thing. So if anybody is listening and they're in the Richmond and Midlothian area and they're not signed up yet, all are welcome. I'm going to put a link in the show notes for this episode, and please sign up. We would love to have you. It's at my house. I'm working on the spring events right now, and I hope it will just be much more author fun.
Yes, I love it.
So now We're going to get down to all of your recommendations. I remember last time you organized them by theme. Is that what you're doing today?
Yes, I think that makes it a little bit easier. And that way, if something piques your interest, you can dig in even deeper on that theme. That just is the easiest way for me to visualize all the gifts that I need to buy this year.
I liked that. It worked well, and I ended up ordering a bunch after we chatted last year.
Good. I'm glad. Yes. Books are always the best gift.
I obviously agree with that. Well, let's get started. What is the first theme?
Great. Well, I was going to talk about favorite fiction. And I know we discussed last year, giving fiction can be a little difficult because you don't know what someone has read or what, they like. But there's nothing better than finding a book you love and giving it to a friend. Instead of just buying what's listed as a top seller, I like to give people a more meaningful book. And so my first recommendation is to give them something nostalgic reading. Find a book, a historical fiction book or historic narrative nonfiction book set in their hometown or a special place. What a treat to learn something about your own history from these books. In my own personal history, I read a book this year that would make a great gift for anyone from North Carolina. I read Joy Callaway's The Star of Camp Greene, which details the World War I era army camp near Charlotte. And I grew up just 30 minutes away from this camp and had no idea that it even had existed. And so I think these type of books would be a great gift if you do a little digging and find one that would mean something to your gift recipient, somewhere they've lived, their hometown, or a special place in their heart.
I know you love Joy's books, and I have really enjoyed the ones that I have read so far.
Yes, she's one of my top authors. I just love her writing, and she writes a lot about North Carolina, which of course is my home state. So I just love that about that as well.
I really liked her book about the Greenbrier, and I'm still dying to get there because it's not very far from us.
Right. Yes, it's a couple hours away. It's very fun to go to there.
Yeah, so it's on my list.
Great.
What's up next?
Okay, so next topic is kind of old favorites made new. So if your gift recipient has a favorite book, you can see if there's a modern retelling. For example, this year was The Great Gatsby's 100th anniversary, and I love that book. And I really enjoyed a retelling called The Gatsby Gambit. And there are several other Gatsby ones out there, especially this year, that came out this year with the 100th anniversary. And there are also, I know, many Jane Austen retellings that are fun and flirty. I know that you probably have some of those since Jane Austen is your favorite author as well.
Yes, there are so many fun Jane Austen retellings. And the other thing that I think is interesting about The Great Gatsby, which I didn't realize, and now, of course, I'm not going to remember the exact timing, but you can't write these retellings till a book comes out of copyright. So The Great Gatsby only came out of copyright maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
Yes, I believe it's been very recent. So yes, they have to wait and then it's fair game. So it's kind of neat that they, can take the actual characters that you've grown to love in your favorite book and then expand on their stories.
It absolutely is. And it's just interesting to see how that works. And I had never thought about the copyright aspect. But of course, Jane Austen, those books were written so long ago. People have been doing that for quite some time. But it was interesting to see that there are now a proliferation of The Great Gatsby as well.
Yes. Well, and Jane Austen, this is a really important year for her. December is her 250th birthday. So if your gift recipient is a Jane Austen fan, this is the perfect time to treat them to a beautiful edition of one of her books. Or there's so many Austen adjacent books that are coming out this year, like one called The Worlds of Jane Austen, the influences and inspiration behind the novels, or Jane Austen's Fashion Bible, which I know I'm excited to get because that sounds right up my alley.
And you know it's right up mine.
Yes, definitely. And then I love pairing these books. If you want to give an even better gift, pair it with a beautiful edition of their favorite book. One of my favorite books is Little Women, and there's a new edition of that just came out by an artist, Riley Sheehay, and I just received it, and it is so gorgeous, and it would make such a beautiful addition to anyone's shelves. So I think that would make a really special gift.
Oh, I think it would too. I love that.
And then going along kind of the same theme, an old favorite, new favorite pairing. So if you know your gift recipient's favorite novel or time period that the novel is set in, you could give them a more recent novel set in that time period. So for instance, if they love Gone with the Wind, then, Chris Bohjalian's new book about the Civil War, The Jackal's Mistress, might be a good option. So just look for little ways that you can let your gift recipient know that you know their favorites and they might find a new favorite.
That's a fun idea. And there was a great book about Hattie McDaniel, a historical fiction that came out last year too, which would be another fun one to pair with The Gone with the Wind.
Oh, yes, that would be great. The Queen of Sugar Hill, I believe, was the name of it. And yeah, that would be great.
Yes, definitely.
And then my top recommendation year to year is always, if you know your gift recipient is going on a big trip or even a little trip, find a book set in their destination. And so this year, I'm excited to go to Vienna in the summer. And so one of my favorite books, actually, I read this year, was called The Lost Baker of Vienna by Sharon Kurtzman. And I cannot wait to walk in the book's footsteps as we visit this summer. And I have a lot of book lists on my website, so you can easily find something in most European or U.S. destinations. But I just think that is such a fun gift for a gift recipient to receive, book that so they can anticipate the trip.
I agree with that completely. And you're reminding me I need to read that because we're going to Vienna at Christmas. And that book has fabulous reviews. And I know you loved it, so I need to get a hold of it.
Yes, it is one of my top World War II books, or it's actually post-World War II, but just to learn about something in history I just had no idea about. So in Vienna after the war. So very excited to go there. And I can't wait to hear from you after you've gone to give me some good tips for our trip.
Absolutely.
And then sometimes you have a person on your list, like maybe a grandmother or mother-in-law, who may be extra sensitive and not into some of the bestsellers with some language issues or content issues. And so I have found some really sweet historical fiction reads that always deliver a wonderful and historically researched story without some of the harsher elements. So these are the types of books you can give to anyone. So I just love Katherine Reay, and I especially love her Cold War books that have been coming out recently about Berlin and Moscow. So she always writes amazing historical fiction, but none of those harsher elements. And Kristy Cambron is another author that I really like in this area too. And her latest book is called The French Kitchen, and it has a Julia Child cameo in it. So it's a really great, be really fun to pair with a Julia Child cookbook or something with this book. And then a couple of other ones are Sarah Sundin, and she just wrote Midnight on the Scottish Shore, and Laura Frantz, who wrote The Indigo Heiress this past year. But they have a lot of backlists. So these are the types of books you can find. They've written something about a time period that you're interested in or your gift recipient would be interested in. But you don't have to worry when you hand it to them. It's a very sweet read.
I like that idea because sometimes it is tricky to think about what will work for someone older or someone who is more sensitive. And I'm often not really reading for that. I'm just reading to see if I like the book. So somebody will ask me, can my 15-year-old read it? Or is it a good gift for my grandmother? And I'm thinking, I don't really know.
Right. It's hard to remember
It
even,
is.
because you read so many books, it's hard to remember. But with these authors, you can't go wrong. I would hand it to teenagers and up.
Okay, that's so helpful because, again, it's just not always what I'm looking for. And it's stuff that doesn't bother me. And so I'm thinking, oh, okay. And I just keep going and it doesn't stand out. And then later I think, I don't really know the answer to that. So that's helpful.
Well, good.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. Jay Kelly, the new film from Academy Award nominee Noah Baumbach. George Clooney stars as an actor confronting his past and present on a journey of self-discovery, alongside Adam Sandler as his devoted manager. Critics are calling it a declaration of love to the chaotic art of filmmaking, with the Wall Street Journal praising it as a transcendent comedy drama. Watch Jay Kelly December 5th, only on Netflix.
Everyone wants the Emirates NBA Cup.
And things are heating up.
30 teams started. But only 8 have advanced to the single elimination knockout rounds. To survive, they'll have to be hungry, relentless, ruthless.
Are you kidding me?
They all want the cup, but only one team can claim it. Who will capture the cup? Emirates NBA Cup knockout rounds begin December 9th on Prime.
And then another fiction pairing I thought would be entertaining reads. So this is a book pairing a book that's being turned into a movie with a movie gift card or a gift card to Netflix. And there's so many amazing books that are being turned into great content, media content right now. Candace Millard's Destiny of the Republic is, of course, the new Netflix series is based on that book. And so it would be really cool to give the book and then either a Netflix gift card or mention the Netflix series. And then Hamnet is coming out at theaters soon. And so buying that book, which I adored, would be a great gift with a gift card to your local movie theater. And in 2026, there are all kinds of new adaptations coming out for Wuthering Heights, The Odyssey, and Les Miserables that would make perfect gift pairings.
I just recently listened to Destiny of the Republic, and that is a page turner. And I'll tell you, it doesn't sound like it would be a page turner when you read the back of it. You're like, okay, that's kind of interesting. But I just sat in my car long after I parked wherever I was or in my garage because it was just so fascinating and I didn't want to turn it off. Has that already come out on Netflix or is it coming soon?
It did. It came out, I believe, 2 weeks ago, maybe a week ago. So it's very recently out on Netflix. I've only watched the first episode. But what I've read about it, it stays very true to the book and historical record. And the book itself, as you know, is about President James Garfield and his assassination and the perpetrator. And it's so fascinating for me to see also the glimpses of his wife, Lucretia Garfield, after learning so much about her during my project, my Booking It Through History First Ladies project. And it's been really fun to see the stats on my website. Her post is trending on my website because I think so many people are watching this show and saying, who is Lucretia Garfield? So I'm hoping it will make people more interested in her as well.
Absolutely. And he didn't serve as president for very long, which is why a lot of us don't know very much about him. But he was such a fascinating individual. I mean, I truly just thought that book was phenomenal. It would be one of my top reads of the year.
Oh, good. Yes. I think that it would make a great gift book. So yes, I think that is an awesome book.
I agree with that. And I love the idea of pairing it with a Netflix gift card.
Okay, good.
So what is our next theme that we're going to dive into?
So the next theme I wanted to focus on is something that is near and dear to my heart. As the next theme that I wanted to focus on is something that will affect all of us living in America over the next few years. It's our 250th birthday. They're celebrating it next July 4th, the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. But of course, the 250th American Revolution spans 8 years. So we've got 8 years worth of celebrations to take in. And so I think any books about the American Revolution would make an amazing gift, especially if your gift recipient is a history fan. And including guys. So if your dad or your brother would be interested in the American Revolution, I think anything by Jeff Shaara, he writes historical fiction, but it's usually focused on military history. The guys tend to really like his writing, and they're really great books. And then John Jakes has the Kent Family Chronicles that I've added my TBR. And then for nonfiction, Rick Atkinson has a trilogy, and only 2 books are out now. And Nathan Philbreck has a great Revolution series. So I think you can't go wrong pairing a book like this with one of your gift recipients that loves history.
One of my favorite things about our move to Virginia and the timing is that we're here for all of this. It is such a big thing here because obviously so much happened here. And I'm not sure it would have really been on my radar nearly as much if we weren't here. And we saw Rick Atkinson speak, my husband and I did this summer, and Michael and I both just thought he was phenomenal. And his book sounded so interesting, especially if you do like all of the military history. But it's really fun to see how excited everybody is already for the 250th. I love it.
Yes, I'm so excited. And actually, just this past week, the Ken Burns American Revolution series came out on PBS. And so there's a book that goes along with that as well. So that would make a great pairing.
Well, and, he worked with Rick Atkinson on that. So they were touring together originally, and we missed that when they came to Altria, but then we saw Rick speak this summer. But I didn't realize they were working together on it. So I can't wait to watch that as well. You're reminding me I have so much TV to start watching.
And for women who love the American Revolution, I have a lot of favorites about women's roles in the American Revolution. And some of my favorites include King's Mountain by Sharon McCrumb, which is incidentally my hometown. So, of course, I love this book the most, but it tells the fascinating story of the Battle of Kings Mountain right on the North Carolina-South Carolina border. And the writing is so lyrical. I just love it. Some of my others are My Dear Hamilton by Stephanie Dray and Laura Kamoie, Answering Liberty's Call by Tracy Lawson, and of course the later books in the Outlander series all deal with the American Revolution. And 2 that are on my TBR are The Lacemaker by Laura Frantz and A Girl Called Samson by Amy Harmon. And then I thought it would be fun to pair one of these books with a nonfiction book for your gift recipient about women's roles during the war. Founding Mothers by Cokie Roberts is a great example, or even a biography about a woman important to the revolution like Abigail Adams. So I think that would make a great pairing.
I agree. And on Abigail Adams, I feel like she's starting to have a moment. She's one of those people who is showing up in more and more books. And I love when things like that happen, when all of a sudden someone that we obviously all know her name, but maybe don't really know her story is appearing in books.
Yes, I'm so happy that Abigail is even becoming even more well-known because we all know her Remember the Ladies speech, but to learn more about her and all the sacrifice that she gave to help our country become what it is amazing. So I'm glad to see her get her day in the limelight.
I agree. Her 15 minutes of fame, right?
And then I also think with the American Revolution anniversary, it's a great time to read a book along with your middle grade reader, to talk about the history, visit historical sites. That's what my blog is all about, is getting kids excited about history. And so one of the best ways to do this with the American Revolution is my dear friend, Libby McNamee. She's written an amazing book called Susanna's Midnight Ride. And it's a true story about a 16-year-old girl who saves Lafayette from being captured by the British. And it's chilling and gripping, and you don't know what's going to happen. You know the history, you know it's going to work out in the end, but she has made it such a fun caper for children and middle grade readers, and anyone can read it and learn a lot of information. So you can even visit the site where Susanna actually warned Lafayette that he was going to be captured. You can go and have dinner there right now. It's called the Halfway House near Richmond. So it's just a fun time to talk about American history with the 250th, to talk about it with your kids and take them to historical sites.
I agree. And Libby's book is actually on my list. You gave it to me when I was first moving here, and I haven't had a chance to read it yet. But at your retreat in D.C., she spoke about one of her other books, which has to do with the War of 1812. And I have to say, not to sound like an ignoramus, but I wasn't really thinking that anything about the War of 1812 would sound very exciting. And she made it all totally thrilling. There were however many women sitting in a circle listening to Libby. We were all on the edge of our chairs as she was recounting everything. She's a wonderful storyteller.
Oh, yes. So that her book about Dolly Madison and the War of 1812 is just so thrilling. Like the very images that she paints of what Dolly saw and what she had to do, and the fires in D.C., like all of that is just so amazing. So kids and adults alike will be interested in that.
I think that's right, because I've mentioned the book to several of my friends here and they've all read it. And even though it's middle grade, all these adults have been reading it and really enjoying her stories.
Great. Yes. Well, good. Well, and then if you're looking for any more American Revolution books or historical sites, I have a whole blog post about favorite American Revolution sites to go and the books to read beforehand. So anyone can check that out on my site.
And the other nice thing you do on your site, which I've taken advantage of several times, is provide places to eat in the area or other things you might want to see. So it is really helpful to check out your site when you're going one of these places.
Oh, thank you. Yes, that's why I wanted to be helpful. So that's wonderful to hear.
So what's our next theme?
So, my passion is learning more about the First Lady. So I couldn't let that go by without talking a little bit about that in our gift guide. And so the White House Historical Society comes out with several new releases a year. And this year they've updated the gorgeous official White House China book, which would make an amazing gift for a fellow China lover. I love looking at the First Lady's China when we visited the Smithsonian and other museums in D.C. It's always so fascinating to see why they chose what they chose and where it was made. And I just think the book itself is just such a huge, gorgeous gift book that I think it would make a beautiful gift.
I have the last version of that, so that's wonderful to know that it's being updated. My mom collected china, so many beautiful sets, loved visiting places that would have the dishes up. And that was the other thing about Hillwood. She had a great dish collection too. But I'm going to add that book to my list on the White House china because that's good to know.
Good. And then I've studied, as I said earlier, one of the most written about First Ladies this year, Jackie Kennedy, and thought a nice gift for someone who, a gift recipient that is interested in mid-century or Jackie Kennedy would be several of the books written about her paired with her White House ornament. She has the most beautiful White House ornament, and it's a special ornament because she founded the White House Historical Society. So on their 60th anniversary of their founding, they put out an ornament with her First Lady portrait, and it's just gorgeous. So it would pair well with one of the books about her. Some of my favorites are Jackie by Dawn Tripp, and they called it Camelot by Stephanie Marie Thornton. Or you can also pair it with a book that the White House Historical Society's put out. It's called Designing Camelot. And it's all about her preservation work with the White House. And as we learned on our reader retreat, Fayette Square, how she saved that area as well. So I think that would make it such a beautiful gift to give together.
I agree. And Grand Central Terminal. I mean, that's in New York versus D.C., but she was responsible for helping save that.
Yes. It's such an important role that she's played in making sure our history is preserved. So it would make a great gift.
Absolutely. And I have a bunch of those White House ornaments, but I don't have the one with her on it. So I'm going to track that down.
Oh, good.
Okay. So what is our next theme? These are so fun.
Oh, good. Well, I love anniversaries, as you can tell. And so next year is the late Queen Elizabeth's 100th birthday. And so there's lots of neat books that are coming out and even a really interesting and beautiful commemorative tea set that's being sold through Buckingham Palace. I think it'd be fun to, if you know your gift recipient is a fan of royalty or watching what the royals are wearing and what they're doing, it would be really fun to find a good biography about someone from the royal family. I love Sally Bedell Smith's books. She's written a book about the Queen and about King Charles, but there's also a beautiful book called The Queen, The Life and Times of Elizabeth II by Katherine Ryan that would make a beautiful gift paired with maybe one of those special teacups from Buckingham Palace. And there are even several fiction books about the Queen that I've loved over the years, such as Christmas with the Queen by Hazel Gaynor and Heather Webb. And then Jennifer Robeson has written 2 books about the Queen. And then my absolute favorite is that we all love the corgis. And Eliza Knight actually wrote a historical fiction book called The Queen's Faithful Companion, all about the corgi. So I just think that would be such a fun gift to get.
And I was a little skeptical about the theme of that last one because I was like, and I loved it. It was such a great read. And then there's also a mystery series, and I think the author is S.J. Bennett, where the Queen solves mysteries.
Yes. I haven't read those yet, but those are on my TBR list. But yes, that would be perfect paired with, and you could find something really neat at Buckingham Palace for her 100th birthday to pair with that.
I love that.
And then, of course, as it's Christmas season, Christmas books are always a hit for any kind of holiday party or book swap that you're going to in December. And I'm very excited for our book swap and finding something that I think that our attendees will love. And so some of the things I love to give are special classic editions. And I recently saw a release called O. Henry for the Holidays with 7 of his classic short stories. And I think I love finding books that are specialized for Christmas like that. And I have a special affinity for O. Henry. I just visited his birthplace, Greensboro, North Carolina, and there's a whole hotel dedicated to O. Henry. And all of his short stories are in the elevator. And you get a book about the gift of the Magi as you check in. So it's just such a fun experience. And his books are perfect for this season. So I know I'm going to be picking up that O. Henry for the holidays.
If you bring that to the book swap, I am going to definitely be on the lookout for which book you've put down.
Oh, good.
I'll be like, nobody wants to pick this one. That sounds very boring.
Oh, good.
And what a cool hotel. I'm going to definitely have to check that out.
It was really fun. I just loved all the bookish delight that he's being celebrated. So
it's always so much fun.
And then the final books I have to talk about are cookbooks, which everyone loves to give as gifts. And they're usually just so gorgeous and full of beautiful pictures. But it's really hard to know what kind of cook is your friend or your sister-in-law. Sometimes it can be hard to know what they like to cook. So I like to stick with tried and true classics. And so anyone from the South or who loves Southern cooking will love a new book, that cookbook that just came out this year by Ivy Odom. And she works at Southern Living. And she's the cutest young cook that just talks about how she cooked in the kitchen with her grandma and how she's come up with all these recipes. And so many of them were so nostalgic for me as I was looking through the cookbook. It just brought up my own family history and my own personal history with my grandma cooking in her kitchen. And so I just think it would make a fabulous gift book. And then if you need a gift for a mom or other Gen X woman in your life, I always recommend the Pioneer Woman. I just love her food. It's usually easy and feeds a lot of people. It feeds a big family, and it's just hearty, good food. And so she's come out with her new book, The Pioneer Woman Cooks, The Essential Recipes, which are pretty much all of her favorite classic recipes compiled into one cookbook. So she's always a winner.
Okay, good. That one sounds like it would be fun. Both sound great, actually.
Good. Yes. And I'm not the biggest cook, but I like to aspire to cook. So sometimes I just get the cookbooks just to look through them and actually just look at the pictures and read them.
Well, that's exactly what I was thinking. I am really not a cook at all, but I do love beautiful cookbooks. Even though I don't cook a lot, I think it's really fun to page through them and look at all the photos and see the ideas that people come up with.
Yes, definitely. And then I just wanted to mention a few places online that are some really neat online stores where I found some really great bookish gifts. One's called Story Arts, and they have like literary scarves with parts of your favorite lines from a book on a scarf. They have all kinds of books. They have all kinds of bookish delightful gifts. So I recommend going there. And also there's a online presence called the Literary Book Club, but they have a marketplace. So you don't have to join the monthly book club to get access to the marketplace. And they have the most beautiful bookish quotes, stickers and bookmarks. And it's just such a lovely, beautiful site.
You know, the other place that had wonderful bookish gifts was the bookstore that you paired with for your retreat, East City Books. Is that the name of it?
East City, yes. East City Books in Washington, D.C.
I bought puzzles and bookmarks and pens. I bought so many cool bookish things there. I love indie bookstores, and so I'm always promoting them, but I felt like it was really a strong one.
Oh, good. Yes, I think it's great, too. I love when you travel and you find a store. I was just in New York and at the Morgan Library Museum. They had the best gift shop that I've about been in any museum. So I'm going to be looking up to see if they have an online presence as well and getting a few things that I couldn't quite fit in my carry-on bag.
I'm not sure I spent much time in their gift shop. I saw that they had the personal librarian there, obviously, but I'm not sure I spent much time there. So next time I need to pop in there.
Oh, you would love it. There's a whole section of Jane Austen, delightful gifts. So you would love it.
And you know who else has a great one is the New York Public Library.
Yes, I love going in there too. Yeah, so I think any of these museums or libraries, you check to see if they have an online presence and you can get something so special for your gift recipient from them.
I agree. Well, Jayda, thank you so much. This has been so much fun to hear your recommendations.
Well, thank you. It's been such a fun time.
This is a real good story about Bronx and his dad, Ryan, real United Airlines customers.
We were returning home, and one of the flight attendants asked Bronx if he wanted to see the flight deck and meet Captain Andrew.
I got to sit in the driver's seat.
I grew up in an aviation family, and seeing Bronx kind of reminded me of myself when I was that age.
That's Andrew, a real United pilot.
These small interactions can shape a kid's future.
It felt like I was the captain.
Allowing my son to see the flight deck will stick with us forever.
That's how good leads the way.
Thank you so much for listening to my podcast. I would love to connect with you on Instagram or Facebook, where you can find me at Thoughts from a Page. If you enjoy the show and have a moment to rate it or subscribe to it wherever you listen to your podcasts, I would really appreciate it. It makes a huge difference. And please tell all of your friends about Thoughts from a Page. Word of mouth does wonders to help the show grow. I hope you'll tune in next time.